The old teapot had barely begun to sing when the door curtain stirred, and I knew the familiar wanderers of Jianghu had found their way back again. Sit wherever your tired boots carry you. There is fresh tea, louder laughter than yesterday, and a tale so astonishing that even the sparrows outside have forgotten to chirp. Those who vanished for a few days owe the wine jar an explanation, but a good story will settle the debt well enough. The latest record preserved in the clan archive speaks of a legendary inheritance that drew every gifted disciple beneath the Nangong Imperial Clan's halls, where the long-lost Water Immortal Profound Technique finally awakened after ages of silence. Pride, jealousy, and hidden murderous intent followed, as the ancient secret skill chose Chu Feng over every celebrated genius, turning admiration into betrayal. Yet the pages do not end there, for the price of greed is about to awaken a nightmare that even martial emperors cannot hope to contain. MGA, Chapter 1635, Water Immortal Profound Technique. When the brilliant sun cast its golden radiance across the earth, a martial emperor-level expert also arrived at Chu Feng's residence. He was a man, and moreover, someone Chu Feng had seen before. The previous night, when Chu Feng had first caused that extraordinary abnormal sign to descend, this very man had come to his residence. Although he had never stepped inside and had departed after casting only a single glance toward Chu Feng's dwelling, he had nevertheless left an exceedingly deep impression upon Chu Feng. The reason was simple. When that man had gazed toward Chu Feng's residence, his eyes had been overflowing with killing intent. At this moment, that man was speaking with Aunt Lian. From the words exchanged between the two, Chu Feng learned that the man was named Nangong Huai. As for the subject of their discussion, Nangong Huai had come because he wanted Chu Feng to attend and participate in the Secret Skill Inheritance Assembly. "Chu Feng, let's go," Aunt Lian said as she entered and came to find Chu Feng. "Min," Chu Feng nodded, wished to personally witness exactly what manner of secret skill the so-called Water Immortal Profound Technique truly was. He wanted to know whether that legendary technique was stronger than the 4 great secret skills he already possessed, or whether his own 4 secret skills stood above it. Under Aunt Lian's guidance, Chu Feng arrived at an enormously vast underground palace. Chu Feng and Aunt Lian were not the only ones who had come. Nangong Bai, Nangong Moli, and Nangong Ya had accompanied them as well. When they entered the depths of the underground palace, Chu Feng discovered that an enormous number of people had already gathered there. At the absolute minimum, there were more than 1,000. Among them, the oldest were nearly 100 years of age, while the youngest had not even reached 10 years old. However, regardless of the cultivation levels those people currently possessed, every last one of them had rather outstanding talent. Otherwise, they would never have been brought into this place, much less granted such a precious opportunity to obtain a secret skill. Most importantly, the 3 princes and the single princess of the Nangong Imperial Clan were also present. They were not alone either. Meng Xiaoyan, the disciple of the white-browed immortal, was present as well. "That guy, why is he here?" The instant Chu Feng appeared, eldest Prince Nangong Tianlong and the others all furrowed their brows. Evidently, none of them had expected Chu Feng to show himself in such a place. At that moment, Nangong Tianlong and the others stared at Chu Feng with gazes filled with hostility. Nangong Tianxi's reaction was especially fierce. From his expression alone, it seemed as though he wished to draw a blade and hack Chu Feng into 8 separate pieces. After all, the previous night, Nangong Tianxi had been proudly displaying his soaring golden dragon. He had believed that the magnificent phenomenon would allow him to earn his father's favor and approval. Yet, completely beyond his expectations, Chu Feng had also revealed an abnormal sign. Not only had Chu Feng summoned his own abnormal sign, that phenomenon had actually frightened the golden dragon into fleeing. Nangong Tianxi had been humiliated beyond measure before the eyes of others. Thus, his hatred toward Chu Feng had sunk deeply into his heart. "Chu Feng, why are you here? Get the hell out of here!" Nangong Tianxi shouted furiously, cursing Chu Feng without restraint. "Impudent! Is Chu Feng someone whom you have the authority to drive away?" Aunt Lian fiercely glared at Nangong Tianxi. "Aunt Lian, he is an outsider. What qualification does he have to participate in our Nangong Imperial Clan's Secret Skill Inheritance Assembly?" Nangong Tianxi demanded. Outsider? From what I can see, Chu Feng is not the only outsider standing here, is he? Nangong asked. As he spoke those words, he deliberately cast a glance toward Meng Xiaoyan, who stood beside Nangong Tianlong. My master has already joined the Nangong Imperial Clan. Strictly speaking, I can no longer be considered an outsider, Meng Xiaoyan replied with a radiant smile upon his face. Chu Feng has come here with the personal permission of Lord Clan Chief. Should any of you have objections, you may go and question Lord Clan Chief yourselves. Aunt Lian had already exhausted her patience. As she spoke, she swept her sleeve through the air, immediately summoning a powerful gale that surged forward. The fierce wind pushed every bystander aside. Even Nangong Tianlong and the others, despite being princes and princess of the clan, received no special treatment and were forced away as well. Afterward, Aunt Lian brought Chu Feng along and continued deeper inside. The two of them walked without stopping until they reached the deepest region of the underground palace. Damn it! She actually dared to attack us! I'm going to find Imperial Father and complain. Upon witnessing what had happened, Nangong Tianxi became so enraged that his teeth ground against one another. He immediately turned around, intending to seek out his Imperial Father. Third brother, let this matter pass. Since Nangong Lian has said such a thing, I believe it should be true. Nangong Tianlong said. What true? Why would Imperial Father allow that guy to participate in our competition? Nong Tianxi asked, unable to comprehend the situation. Imperial Father most certainly has his own reasons, Nangong Tianlong replied. Forget it. Since he has already come, just let him remain. He is merely a rank 1 half-martial emperor. In this place, he cannot be considered anything remarkable. How could the secret skill possibly choose someone like him? Nangong Tianhu said. Although his dislike for Chu Feng was enormous, he did not regard Chu Feng as a genuine rival. Instead, from the depths of his heart, he looked down upon Chu Feng. Chu Feng completely ignored the words and comments of those people. After arriving at the deepest region, he began to carefully examine everything around him. Within the deepest region stood a world spirit formation. The power of that formation was extraordinary. It was clearly the work of a dragon mark royal cloak world spiritist. However, that world spirit technique had not been established to defend against attacks coming from outside. Instead, it had been created to withstand attacks originating from within. In other words, this was not a defensive barrier intended to repel intruders, but rather a cage constructed to imprison and contain something. By using his heaven's eyes, Chu Feng was able to see through the secrets of the world spirit formation. He discovered a blue steel standing at the center of the formation. A peculiar power was contained within that steel. Most likely, the secret skill known as the Water Immortal Profound Technique was sealed inside it. Little friends, I've made you all wait, a voice suddenly sounded. At that very moment, the white-browed immortal appeared. That person is a Dragonmark Royal Cloak World Spiritist. Could he be the white-browed immortal? Has the white-browed immortal truly joined our Nangong Imperial Clan? Countless people became excited upon seeing the white-browed immortal. During the past several days, they had all heard rumors claiming that the white-browed immortal had joined the Nangong Imperial Clan as a nominal elder. Now that they were seeing him here with their own eyes, it appeared those rumors were indeed true. The Nangong Imperial Clan was a clan whose battle power overflowed with might. However, when it came to world spirit techniques, their accomplishments could not be considered top quality. Yet, should the white-browed immortal personally offer them guidance, their proficiency in world spirit techniques would likely advance by leaps and bounds. Most importantly, throughout the entire Holy Land of Martialism, there were only 10 Dragon Mark Royal Cloak World Spiritists. And now, their Nangong Imperial Clan possessed one of those Dragon Mark Royal Cloak World Spiritists. Merely thinking about such a fact caused the people of the Nangong Imperial Clan to feel immense pride. Little friends, this old man and his disciple have indeed joined the Nangong Imperial Clan. As of yesterday, I became a nominal elder of the Nangong Imperial Clan, the white-browed immortal declared with a smile. He treated these members of the younger generation with considerable courtesy. After all, he knew perfectly well that every person gathered here belonged among the finest members of the Nangong Imperial Clan's younger generation. Many years from now, it would be these very people who would shoulder the burden of supporting the Nangong Imperial Clan. Ha ha! The Immortal has truly joined our Nangong Imperial Clan. This is truly wonderful. Upon learning that the white-browed Immortal had genuinely joined their Nangong Imperial Clan, the younger generation of the Nangong Imperial Clan became endlessly excited. Little friends, all of you are outstanding talents of the Nangong Imperial Clan. In the future, the Nangong Imperial Clan will have to be supported by all of you. Today, we have gathered all of you here for a fortunate matter. I believe that all of you, little friends, have heard of secret skills before. You should also know that within the Holy Land of Martialism, there are a total of 5 secret skills regarded as the strongest. Those 5 are, respectively, the God Immortal Profound Technique, the Wood Immortal Profound Technique, the Water Immortal Profound Technique, the Fire Immortal Profound Technique, and the Earth Immortal Profound Technique. 1. They are named after the 5 elements: gold, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. These 5 secret skills have existed since the ancient era. They were created by an incomparably powerful expert who once travelled throughout the ancient era unhindered. Every one of the 5 possesses extremely terrifying might. Furthermore, according to legend, so long as one person is able to obtain all 5 secret skills, that person will acquire a secret capable of opening a treasure deposit. Unfortunately, several tens of thousands of years have already passed since the ancient era. Although these 5 secret skills have continuously circulated throughout the world, never once has anyone succeeded in obtaining all 5. Even now, the God Immortal Profound Technique is held by the Mortal King Palace, the Wood Immortal Profound Technique is held by the Heavenly Law Palace, and the Earth Immortal Profound Technique is held by the Underworld Palace. Don't know if I mentioned this before, the 3 palaces are respectively named after man, heaven, and earth. Underworld in Chinese literally means earth prison. As for the Water Immortal Profound Technique and the Fire Immortal Profound Technique, both have been lost for many years and were already approaching the verge of extinction. However, today I have a piece of good news for all of you. The long-lost Water Immortal Profound Technique has arrived within our Nangong Imperial Clan. Not only has our Nangong Imperial Clan successfully obtained the Water Immortal Profound Technique, Lord Clan Chief has also decided to impart the Water Immortal Profound Technique to the younger generation of the Nangong Imperial Clan. Little friends, every one of you possesses a chance to obtain the legendary strongest secret skill, the Water Immortal Profound Technique, the white-browed Immortal declared. Woo! The instant those words reached their ears, the crowd erupted with incomparable excitement and actually began cheering in unison. After all, every one of them had heard the legend of the Water Immortal Profound Technique. Now that they truly possessed an opportunity to obtain that legendary secret skill, how could they possibly restrain the incomparable excitement surging through their hearts? MGA, Chapter 1636. Flatter! Whoosh! All of a sudden, the white-browed Immortal swept his sleeve through the air. In the next instant, numerous entrances opened upon that world spirit formation like gates carved by invisible hands. Little friends, the legendary Water Immortal Profound Technique lies within. Enter, the white-browed Immortal said. After those words fell, Chu Feng and the others began walking toward the spirit formation. Aunt Lian, unwilling to leave Chu Feng unattended, also followed him toward the formation. Nangong Lian, this is an affair concerning the younger generation. There is no need for you to accompany them. However, before Aunt Lian could step into the spirit formation, Nangong Huai opened his mouth and stopped her. Aunt Lian, it is fine. I can handle this myself, Chu Feng said with a smile. After hesitating for a brief moment, Aunt Lian finally halted her steps. She did not follow the others inside. Instead, she remained outside the world spirit formation, standing guard over the place. Once Chu Feng and the others entered the spirit formation, every one of them could clearly see the blue steel positioned at the center of the formation. Moreover, all of them understood that this blue steel should be the object sealing the secret skill, and that the closer one stood to the steel, the greater one's chance of obtaining the secret skill would become. Thus, at this very moment, everyone charged toward the stele. All wished to draw nearer to it. Naturally, the ones standing at the very front of the crowd were Nangong Tianlong and the others. The reason was simple. No one dared contend against the princes and princess. One matter worthy of note was that Meng Xiaoyan was also standing at the foremost position, together with Nangong Tianlong and the others. What was rather interesting was that many people could see that Nangong Tianlong and the other princes deeply disliked Chu Feng. They actually blocked Chu Feng's path and refused to let him continue forward. In this manner, they forced Chu Feng into a corner of the crowd. Chu Feng merely smiled at their conduct and paid them no mind. The reason was that, from the very beginning, he had never intended to fight for the closest position. Because Chu Feng possessed 4 secret skills, he understood the nature of secret skills extremely well. In a space of this size, no matter which corner he hid himself in, the secret skill would still be able to sense him. Thus, struggling to stand closest to the secret skill was simply meaningless. This was the difference between true experience and shallow ambition. Others treated distance like destiny, but Chu Feng knew that a secret skill did not merely look at where a person stood. It sensed aptitude, compatibility, spirit, and the deeper resonance between master and inheritance. At this moment, as Chu Feng watched the people of the Nangong Imperial Clan shove against one another in order to get closer to the blue steel, as he watched those people nearly come to blows among themselves for a better position, Chu Feng felt as though he were watching a troupe of clowns performing before the stage of fate. In my eyes, this scene is almost humorous, because those who believed themselves noble were now exposing the most ordinary greed. The closer they pressed toward the steel, the farther they seemed from the dignity of true cultivators. Chu Feng, what you did last night was truly spectacular. How exactly did you accomplish it? Could you be a divine body? Yet the power of your lightning seemed different from that of other divine bodies. Just what skill is it that you grasp? Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded beside Chu Feng's ears. When Chu Feng looked over, he saw Nangong Baihei and Nangong Moli walking toward him. Furthermore, Nangong Ya was closely following behind them. The secret skill is about to appear. It will not benefit you all to stand here, Chu Feng said in a joking manner. We never intended to obtain the secret skill in the first place. Moreover, even if we wanted to fight for it, we would not be able to obtain it. Is it not the secret skill that has the right to choose its master, rather than the other way around? One can only force a secret skill into submission if one possesses absolute strength. Clearly, none of us possess the strength needed to force a secret skill into submission. Furthermore, it is obvious that the secret skill will not choose me. Therefore, I have chosen to give up on it, Nangong Bai said with a smile. Little sister Bai, stop pretending. From the way I see it, you already knew the secret skill would choose Chu Feng. That is why you came over here, so you could admire the appearance of the secret skill from close range, Nangong Ya said with a smile. Nangong Baihei cast a sideways glance at Nangong Ya. Then, with a sweet smile, she said, "You are so clever. You have guessed everything correctly. Big brother Chu Feng, those 6 bolts of lightning in the sky last night, were they truly caused by you? You are so amazing." Nangong Moli looked at Chu Feng with wide eyes, her face filled with adoration. "Am I truly amazing? You must know that your big brother Chu Feng is on the verge of losing his life here," Chu Feng said with a smile while stroking Nangong Moli's head. Chu Feng had clearly spoken those words as a joke. However, when Nangong Baihei and Nangong Ya heard them, their expressions changed. A heavy unease rose within their hearts. In truth, the two of them were forcing themselves to smile. They knew that a great catastrophe would likely descend upon Chu Feng. Yet at such a time, they could do nothing. They felt deeply ashamed that they were unable to help Chu Feng in the slightest. This is where the emotional weight of the chapter quietly sharpens. Chu Feng jokes about danger, but those who care about him cannot treat it as a joke. His calmness protects others from fear, while their helplessness reveals how isolated he truly is inside the Nangong Imperial Clan's territory. Buzz! Right at this moment, the sealed spirit formation suddenly turned transparent like glass. At this moment, not only could the people inside the spirit formation see the people outside the spirit formation could also see inside. The reason for this was evidently so that the outsiders could witness what was happening within the spirit formation. Everyone, prepare yourselves. I am going to release the secret skill, the white-browed immortal shouted lightly. Then he began forming hand seals without pause. His speed was so swift that people were simply unable to see his movements clearly. All they could see were the blurred shadows of his hands. Rumble. At the same time, that blue steel began to sway from left to right and emit trembling sounds. As it trembled, the entire underground palace trembled along with it. Furthermore, upon that blue steel, a dazzling golden rune began flickering without stop. It was incomparably beautiful. At this moment, the hearts of the crowd all began to change. One after another, they grew extremely nervous. Whether it was the people outside or the people inside, all became very tense. None of them knew who the secret technique would choose. However, all of them hoped that they themselves would be the one chosen by the secret technique. There was, however, a single exception. That person was Chu Feng. Chu Feng was so calm and composed that it seemed strange. It was as though he were merely a bystander watching a performance. That calmness is not arrogance alone. It is the confidence of someone who has already walked the path of secret skills before. Where others gamble with hope, Chu Feng waits with understanding. Bang! Suddenly a loud explosion rang out. The blue steel shattered apart. Following that, a blue body of light abruptly appeared. It was a substance similar to a consciousness. Its form resembled that of a person. However, water flowed through its entire body. That was right. It was a person formed from water. It stood several tens of meters tall. Standing there, it appeared extremely imposing. Yet it possessed a very amiable appearance, and it was using a leisurely gaze to size up the crowd before it. The Water Immortal Profound Technique was exactly as its name suggested. This secret skill was an existence akin to an immortal. Although it was extremely powerful, it appeared extraordinarily graceful. However, there was one thing no one could possibly doubt. That was the fact that the aura it was emitting right now was tremendously powerful and simply incomparable. It was an aura from the ancient era. The appearance of such an aura changes the atmosphere entirely. This is no longer a simple competition among juniors. It is a meeting with an ancient inheritance, a remnant will carrying the weight of an era long vanished. We pay our respects to Lord Water Immortal. At this moment, Nangong Qianlong and the others tidied their clothing and respectfully bowed to the Water Immortal Profound Technique. Smiles spread across their faces. After them, many of the other Nangong Imperial clansmen began imitating their actions and started flattering the Water Immortal Profound Technique. The reason they did this was naturally because they wanted to gain the favorable impression of the Water Immortal Profound Technique, hoping that it would choose them. Not bad. You are all quite courteous. With a smile on its face, the Water Immortal Profound Technique nodded toward Nangong Qianlong and the others. Seeing that the Water Immortal Profound Technique was smiling, Nangong Qianlong and the others were overjoyed. They felt that they were extremely clever and had successfully captured the attention of the Water Immortal Profound Technique. Lord Water Immortal, I have heard of your great name before. I have heard that you are capable of seeing through the strength of our talents and the height of our future accomplishments. Might Lord Water Immortal be willing to evaluate my talent? If we are able to obtain Lord Water Immortal's judgment of our talents, it would truly be a blessing accumulated over 3 lifetimes for us, Nangong Qianlong said with a humble appearance. His current attitude was extremely respectful, extremely servile. It was as though he had already forgotten that he was a prince. At this moment, he no longer possessed the noble pride he once carried. Instead, he had become someone who bowed before another. In order to obtain the Water Immortal Profound Technique, he had truly lowered himself. And this is the irony that gives the chapter its title. The prince who once relied on bloodline, rank, and status now flatters an ancient secret skill like a servant before a master. Whether this humility is wisdom or desperation remains to be seen, but it reveals one truth clearly. Before true power, even imperial pride can bend. MGA Chapter 1637, Secret Skill Inheritance. All of you possess rather fine natural gifts. Among this crowd, you are the ones whose talents may be considered comparatively outstanding. The Water Immortal Profound Technique said with a faint smile, its voice carrying the calm dignity of an ancient spirit. In that case, Lord Water Immortal, could you perhaps tell us which among us possesses the finest talent? Nangong Xianxia asked. Among all of you, the one with the best talent would be him, the Water Immortal Profound Technique said, raising its hand and pointing toward Nangong Tianhu. Then it asked, "What is your name?" The moment those words fell, the expressions of Nangong Tianlong, Nangong Tianxi, Nangong Tianfeng, and even Mang Xiaoyan all shifted. Although their relationship with one another was exceedingly close, none of them were willing to admit that their talent was inferior to someone else's. Even if that person was their own blood brother, such a result was still difficult for their pride to swallow. This was the heart of Imperial Clan arrogance. Kinship could bind them together, but the Tao of cultivation was still a lonely road where every genius feared being placed beneath another. Nangong Tianhu, however, was wild with joy. He hurriedly said, "Lord Water Immortal, in that case, would you be willing to choose me? I dare guarantee to you that if you choose me, I will absolutely not disappoint you. I will certainly bring glory to your power." Ha ha ha. After hearing Nangong Tianhu's words, the Water Immortal Profound Technique actually threw back its voice and burst into loud laughter. That laughter caused everyone present to freeze in bewilderment. None of them understood the meaning behind the Water Immortal Profound Technique's sudden mirth. Although it is true that many geniuses stand here, among all of you, there is only one person capable of making this immortal serve him, the Water Immortal Profound Technique said. As those words were spoken, its body suddenly shifted, and in the next instant it arrived before Chu Feng. Looking directly at him, it declared, "It is this child." "It's actually him?" Seeing this scene, the expressions of everyone from the Nangong Imperial Clan changed enormously. This was especially true for Nangong Tianlong, Nangong Tianhu, and the others. Their expressions and reactions were simply as though their wives had betrayed them with a lowly beggar. They truly had never imagined that the Water Immortal Profound Technique would choose Chu Feng. One must know that in their hearts, no matter how formidable Chu Feng's world spirit techniques might be, his talent in martial cultivation should have been completely unable to compare with theirs. Why had the Water Immortal Profound Technique chosen Chu Feng instead of them? To them, this was simply against all reason. Yet this moment revealed the difference between shallow judgment and true perception. The Nangong juniors measured talent through realm and status, while the secret skill seemed to see something deeper hidden within Chu Feng's foundation. How could this be? Why would it be him? Which part of him is stronger than us? He is nothing more than a mere rank one-half martial emperor. Why did you choose him? You cannot choose him. You belong to our Nangong Imperial Clan. You must choose someone from our Nangong Imperial Clan. Unable to accept reality, Nangong Tianhu and the others began to shout. Bang! However, right at that moment, the Water Immortal Profound Technique's body trembled, water splashed in all directions, and a boundlessly powerful oppressive might came crushing down. At the same time, a violent gale swept outward. Nangong Tianhu and the others who had questioned its decision were all blown away, crashing fiercely into the wall of the spirit formation. Since when has this immortal's decision become something that the likes of you may question? The Water Immortal Profound Technique no longer wore its former amiable manner. Anger was clearly present in its tone. At this moment, Nangong Tianlong and the others all frowned deeply. Right now, the Water Immortal Profound Technique possessed freedom, and its strength was extremely powerful. They were simply no match for it. Thus helpless, Nangong Tianlong and the others turned their gazes toward White-Browed Immortal and Nangong Huayi. They wanted those two to intervene. After all, they could not merely watch as the Water Immortal Profound Technique became Chu Feng's possession right before their eyes. Yet to their surprise, both White-Browed Immortal and Nangong Huayi stood there without moving at all. It was as if they could not see the pleading gazes being sent toward them. Whoosh! Right at that moment, the Water Immortal Profound Technique suddenly moved. It transformed into a small bead of water. Then, amid flickering light, it shot directly into Chu Feng's forehead. After the Water Immortal Profound Technique entered his body, Chu Feng immediately felt a surge of boundless power merging with him. At the same time, a voice resounded within his mind. "Child, what is your name?" This was the voice of the Water Immortal Profound Technique. "Senior, I am called Chu Feng," Chu Feng replied respectfully. "Chu Feng, I will not waste words on useless matters. This immortal was created by the 5 elements' old ancestor. From this moment onward, I shall serve you. When you fight against others, you may summon me to battle beside you. Furthermore, unless you die, I shall possess an indestructible body. Moreover, my strength will depend entirely on your strength. No matter what cultivation you possess, my cultivation will always be 1 level above yours. That is my ability. Furthermore, there is an exceedingly important matter that you must remember. Back then, when the 5 elements' old ancestor created me, he also created 4 other secret skills. If you are able to make the other 4 secret skills serve you as well, you will come to learn of a secret and obtain a treasure deposit." After the Water Immortal Profound Technique told Chu Feng these matters, its voice disappeared completely. When that voice no longer sounded, Chu Feng understood that the Water Immortal Profound Technique had fully fused with him. This inheritance was not merely an additional battle method. It was a living secret skill, a companion technique tied to Chu Feng's own cultivation realm, and the clue it left behind pointed toward a far greater legacy connected to the 5 elements' old ancestor. At this moment, Chu Feng discovered that Nangong Tianlong and the others were staring at him with gazes filled with killing intent, as though they wished to swallow him alive. Evidently, Chu Feng obtaining the Water Immortal Profound Technique had enraged them to the extreme. Right at that moment, White-Browed Immortal spoke. "Little friend Chu Feng, you are truly extraordinary. You actually managed to obtain the favor of the Water Immortal Profound Technique." However, although his words seemed to be praising Chu Feng on the surface, hidden implications were concealed within them. "Senior, this should be the first time we have met. How did you know my name?" Chu Feng asked with a smile. His words also carried hidden implications. No one noticed that Chu Feng's hands were placed behind his back. Furthermore, his 2 palms were facing one another. Although he had not clasped them together, only a very small distance remained between them. Although Chu Feng appeared extremely relaxed, he had already adjusted his mental state to its peak. If there was the slightest movement, if anyone were to attack him, he would immediately clasp his hands, activate the taboo formation techniques, and release the other Asura world spirit within his body. This was Chu Feng's true battle sense. His face could smile, his voice could remain calm, but behind his back, his killing card was already waiting at the edge of activation. "Ha!" White-Browed Immortal laughed lightly. However, he did not say anything. "Since the Water Immortal Profound Technique has chosen its master, today's inheritance assembly shall end here," White-Browed Immortal said. "End like this? How can we allow our Nangong Imperial Clan's secret skill to fall into the hands of another?" At this moment, Nangong Tianlong and the others were unwilling to accept the outcome. However, immediately afterward, they shut their mouths. Not only did they stop speaking, the furious expressions on their faces also instantly diminished, replaced instead by cold smiles. Evidently, someone had said something to them through a voice transmission. That sudden change was more dangerous than open rage. Anger may reveal a blade, but a cold smile often means the blade has already been hidden in the sleeve. Just like this, Chu Feng returned to his own residence. Aunt Lian also returned to his residence with him. At this moment, Aunt Lian's expression was extremely ugly. Evidently, she understood how dire the current situation had become. The reason was because she had been paying close attention to the expressions on the faces of White-Browed Immortal and Nangong Huayi the entire time. When the Water Immortal Profound Technique chose Chu Feng, although they said nothing and did not try to stop it from happening, killing intent had flashed through their eyes. This killing intent was most obvious in Nangong Huayi's eyes. Thus, Aunt Lian knew that murderous intentions already existed in Nangong Huayi's heart. Chu Feng would likely soon face an imminent catastrophe. In the Imperial Clan, treasure could become crime, talent could become threat, and an inheritance that should have been fortune could instantly turn into a death warrant. Suddenly, Aunt Lian said, "Chu Feng, let's go. I'll take you to see someone." "See who?" Chu Feng asked. "A person capable of taking you away from this place," Aunt Lian said. As she spoke, she grabbed Chu Feng and prepared to leave. Whoosh, whoosh! However, right at that moment, two figures suddenly appeared and blocked Aunt Lian's path. These two people were precisely Nangong Beido's trusted aides, Nangong Huaiyi and Nangong Rongsheng. "Nangong Lian, where are you planning to go?" Nangong Huaiyi asked. "Where I plan to go has nothing to do with you," Aunt Lian snorted coldly. Then she tried to leave. "Although where you plan to go has nothing to do with me, where Chu Feng goes does concern me," Nangong Huaiyi said. As he spoke, he released his boundless oppressive might and sealed this entire region. He had completely blocked Nangong Lian's path of retreat. Furthermore, it was not only Nangong Huaiyi who launched an attack. Nangong Rongsheng had also made his move. MGA, Chapters 38, Paying the Price. What is the meaning of this? Aunt Lian's voice fell like frost upon a drawn blade. "Chu Feng is a guest I personally invited here. Since when did his freedom become something for all of you to decide?" "Nangong Lian, be at ease. I will not lay a hand on Chu Feng. You may take him away if you wish. However, the Water Immortal Profound Technique is a treasure belonging to our Nangong Imperial Clan. That is something he cannot take with him," Nangong Huaiyi said. "What did you say? He cannot take away the Water Immortal Profound Technique? Are you saying you intend to kill Chu Feng?" At that instant, Aunt Lian's anger erupted completely. Although she had long known that Nangong Huaiyi and the others harbored murderous intent toward Chu Feng, she had never expected them to reveal their fangs so swiftly. It was exactly as Chu Feng had declared before. This secret skill inheritance assembly had never been so simple. It was merely a trial, a snare dressed in righteous ceremony. If he truly possessed the ability to obtain the Water Immortal Profound Technique, then what awaited him afterward would not be glory, but only a road leading toward death. This was the ruthless logic of imperial clans. Talent was welcomed only when it could be controlled, and once it stood beyond their grasp, it became a threat. Although Nangong Lian had expected this as well, when everything truly unfolded before her eyes, she still found herself unable to accept that her own clan could act such a shameless manner. "Nangong Lian, what exactly are you imagining? Who said one must kill a person in order to remove a secret skill from them? Do not forget that the white-browed immortal is now a nominal elder of our Nangong Imperial Clan. With his venerable self present, it is entirely possible to strip Chu Feng of the secret skill without taking his life," Nangong Huaiyi said. "What makes you think we would believe you?" Aunt Lian's expression was filled with disbelief. "If you do not believe me, you may come with us," Nangong Huaiyi said. Suddenly, Chu Feng opened his mouth. "Let's go." "Chu Feng, you." Hearing those words, Aunt Lian was stunned. "Aunt Lian, I believe they will not harm me. After all, this is the Nangong Imperial Clan. I believe they would not do something like bully the weak," Chu Feng said with a radiant smile. "Look, even Chu Feng has spoken so. Are you still going to stop us?" Nangong Huaiyi asked with a smile. "Very well, I'll go with all of you," Aunt Lian said. "No problem." Nangong Huaiyi smiled faintly. Then his body moved and he began to lead the way. As for Nangong Rongsheng, he did not immediately leave with Nangong Huaiyi. Instead, he continued standing beside Chu Feng and Aunt Lian. Only after Chu Feng and Aunt Lian began following Nangong Huaiyi did Nangong Rongsheng start moving as well. Although the Nangong Imperial Clan was enclosed within city walls, the territory inside was unimaginably vast. Not only were there splendid golden structures shining with imperial grandeur, there were also boundless lakes, rivers stretching endlessly across the land, and mountain ranges running without break into the distance. Nangong Huaiyi brought Chu Feng and Aunt Lian to one such mountain range. Only then did he stop. After Chu Feng landed upon the mountain range, he quietly examined his surroundings. He discovered that this was indeed an excellent place to silence someone. Thus, deep within his heart, he began to laugh coldly. For Chu Feng, this was not panic, but confirmation. The enemy had chosen a secluded killing ground, yet by doing so they had also revealed every trace of their intent. Aunt Lian's gaze sharpened as she asked cautiously, "Where is the spirit formation you spoke of? Where is the white-browed immortal?" "Ha ha! For something like this, there is no need for immortal to personally act," Nangong Huayi said. At that very moment, Chu Feng spoke in an icy voice. "Enough of your rubbish. If you wish to kill me, then go right ahead." As he spoke, he secretly placed his two hands in one location, leaving only a slight distance between his palms. "Chu Feng, what do you mean by that? Why is it that I am confused?" Nangong Huayi asked, feigning bewilderment. "A group of faithless people, yet you still pretend not to understand? You don't know what I mean? No matter, I'll tell all of you exactly what I mean. First of all, it was not I, Chu Feng, who wished to participate in the secret skill inheritance assembly. It was all of you who invited me there. What was the purpose behind your invitation? Was it not merely to give me an opportunity to obtain the secret skill? And now, after the secret skill has chosen me, all of you refuse to acknowledge that fact and instead wish to strip me of the secret skill. If you truly meant only to strip the secret skill from my body, that would be one matter. However, was there any need to seek out such a hidden place to do so? It is plainly clear that all of you see me as a thorn and wish to remove me," Chu Feng said. "Do it." After Chu Feng finished those words, Nangong Huayi's expression turned cold. With a wave of his sleeve, a dazzling whip of golden brilliance appeared in his hand. Then he aimed it toward Aunt Lian and lashed out explosively. "Damn it!" Seeing this, Aunt Lian wanted to dodge. However, Nangong Rongsheng was gripping her firmly without the slightest wavering. In the end, she could only watch as the radiant golden whip wrapped itself around her, binding her tightly. "Nangong Huayi! Nangong Rongsheng! What are you two doing? Release me immediately. Otherwise, I will make the two of you suffer the consequences of your actions." Aunt Lian struggled with all her strength. However, every struggle was useless. That whip possessed the power to restrain her. Furthermore, Nangong Rongsheng was continuously pouring emperor-level martial power into the whip. Because of that, Aunt Lian was simply unable to break free. At that moment, Aunt Lian was filled with regret. She felt that she had been foolish. She had clearly known that Nangong Rongsheng and Nangong Huayi could not be trusted. Yet she had still brought Chu Feng to this place. In the end, she had harmed Chu Feng. Her regret was not merely fear for herself, but guilt born from loyalty. In the martial world, a single wrong step by a protector could drag the one she guarded into the jaws of death. Nangong Huayi completely ignored Aunt Lian's curses. Instead, he looked toward Chu Feng and laughed. "Chu Feng, you are indeed very clever. You actually managed to guess that we would not let you leave. However, I am confused. Since you already knew that an imminent catastrophe was about to descend upon you, why would you still cooperate with us and come here? Could it be that you truly do not fear death? Who would not fear death? It is merely that I do not fear all of you," Chu Feng said. "What arrogance! Even when facing a great calamity, you still dare to talk back. Chu Feng, I know that you possess an extraordinary origin and that you are a guest. Nangong Lian invited to our Nangong Imperial Clan. How about this? If you voluntarily renounce the Water Immortal Profound Technique and remove it from your body, I will leave you with an intact corpse," Nangong Huayi said. "Voluntarily renounce it? Why would I renounce it? The Water Immortal Profound Technique chose me. That means it acknowledged me. How could I possibly betray its kind intentions? Moreover, when the Water Immortal Profound Technique chose me today, your Nangong Imperial Clan's younger generation was also present. Yet the Water Immortal Profound Technique still chose me. Why was that? The way I see it, it is not that my talent is too outstanding. Rather, it is that your Nangong Imperial Clan's younger generation is too useless. Especially those three princes and that princess who altered her appearance. Not only do they lack talent, their moral quality is also extremely lacking. If the Water Immortal Profound Technique were to follow them, would that not be wronging such a great secret technique?" Chu Feng mocked and ridiculed. This was not reckless speech alone. Chu Feng was striking at the clan's face, at the pride they guarded more fiercely than treasures, because in a world of clans and sects, reputation could wound deeper than a blade. "Chu Feng, I know you only dare to spout such nonsense because you know you will not be able to live. However, I am telling you this. Those who dare insult our Nangong Imperial Clan must pay the price. I will not allow you to die peacefully. I will make you endure suffering. I will make you beg me to kill you. That is the price you must pay for insulting our Nangong Imperial Clan. Ha ha! Suddenly, Chu Feng burst into loud laughter. His laughter was extremely resounding, so loud that it frightened every bird within a 1,000-mile radius into the sky. "What are you laughing about?" Nangong Huai asked coldly. He truly could not understand the young man before him. This Chu Feng displayed the appearance of one without fear. Yet the more Chu Feng acted this way, the more Nangong Huai felt that he could not be allowed to live. The reason was simple. From head to toe, this child emitted an aura of danger. And that is what makes Chu Feng terrifying. Even when trapped, even when surrounded, even when death is spoken of openly, he does not carry the bearing of prey. He carries the silence of someone waiting for the proper instant to overturn the board. Price? What a fine price. I possess neither grievance nor hatred with your Nangong Imperial Clan. Yet all of you wish to kill me. You are simply people who cannot be reasoned with, people who completely disregard the lives of others. However, let me tell you this, I, Chu Feng, am not someone who can be bullied so easily. You wish to kill me, Chu Feng? Then I will also make your Nangong Imperial Clan pay the price. At that moment, anger and ruthlessness flashed through Chu Feng's eyes. This is the true turning point of the chapter. The clan believes it has dragged Chu Feng into its trap, but the look in his eyes tells us the trap may soon belong to someone else. MGA Chapter 1639, Birth of Asura. Ha ha, how laughable! A mere youngster dares speak such arrogant words before me. Fine, then tell me, just what price do you believe you can force our Nangong Imperial Clan to pay? Nangong Huai demanded, his voice colder than winter steel. You truly want to know? Then I shall show you this very instant. As Chu Feng spoke, his arms suddenly shifted, and his palms came together in a firm clasp. Buzz! The instant those palms joined, brilliant light burst forth. It resembled a blazing sun blooming between Chu Feng's hands, its radiance so intense that it dazzled the eyes. Woo! Immediately afterward, a furious roar erupted from between Chu Feng's palms. Following that terrifying cry, limitless dark black gaseous flames began surging violently from his hands. In merely the blink of an eye, those black gaseous flames swallowed the brilliant golden radiance completely. More importantly, as the dark flames continued pouring outward, the furious roaring became increasingly sharp and unbearable to the ears. The deeper that sound echoed, the clearer it became that what Chu Feng was releasing was no ordinary hidden trump card, but a power whose very existence inspired instinctive dread. What is that? Just what exactly are you? At the sight before them, Nangong Huai and Nangong Rongsheng both became frightened. Their fear had begun the very moment Chu Feng clasped his palms together, because in that instant, both men sensed the unmistakable approach of fatal danger. Furthermore, they discovered that Chu Feng's eyes had now become completely jet black. Those hollow depths no longer appeared like ordinary human eyes at all. Dark gaseous flames continued bubbling endlessly from his palms, and while Chu Feng's chest flashed with golden brilliance, an uninterrupted torrent of Dragon Mark Royal Cloak World Spirit power flowed steadily from his chest and into his hands. The terrifying scene revealed the mechanism behind Chu Feng's desperate move. Vast world spirit power was being continuously fed into something far darker and far more dangerous. At that moment, neither Nangong Huai nor Nangong Rongsheng could accept what they were witnessing. First, they could not comprehend how Chu Feng possessed such an enormous reservoir of Dragon Mark Royal Cloak World Spirit energy. Second, they could not understand how a youngster like him could possibly possess those horrifying dark black gaseous flames. Those black gaseous flames were far too terrifying, so frightening that words could scarcely describe them. The instant they appeared, the hairs of Nangong Huai and Nangong Rongsheng stood upright. Icy chills crawled down their backs, and their bodies began trembling beyond their control. For martial emperors of their experience to react in such a manner showed that this fear did not arise from imagination. Their instincts were warning them of something that could truly destroy them. Indeed, those two were not the only people left stunned. Even Aunt Lian stared in disbelief. As she gazed upon Chu Feng in his present state, her expression was like that of someone seeing him for the very first time. The Chu Feng before her was overwhelmingly dangerous and deeply frightening. At that moment, he hardly seemed human at all. He appeared more like a demon that had stepped from some forbidden abyss. "No matter what manner of monster you are, I shall still kill you today." Without warning, Nangong Huai struck. With a single thought, Golden Emperor-level martial power condensed into 3 dazzling golden blades, all of which shot directly toward Chu Feng. 2 of those 3 blades targeted Chu Feng's arms, clearly intending to sever them and interrupt whatever technique he was sustaining. The 3rd blade flew toward Chu Feng's chest. Nangong Huai's strategy was ruthless but direct. Destroy the hands controlling the power and strike the place from which the immense world spirit energy was flowing. Clank! Yet before any of the blades could reach Chu Feng, the dark black gaseous flames transformed into a black whip. With one violent sweep, it knocked all 3 golden blades aside. Whoosh! 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 After crushing Nangong Huai's attack, the dark black gaseous flames instantly sharpened and thrust toward his dantian. Seeing the incoming strike, Nangong Huai instinctively attempted to evade. However, the dark black gaseous flames abruptly accelerated to an unimaginable speed. With a dull impact, they pierced through Nangong Huai's body and penetrated his dantian as well. This is impossible. Nangong Huai stared at the wound in his lower abdomen and the blood flowing from it, his face filled with absolute disbelief. He simply could not accept that what had happened was real. A martial emperor who had mocked Chu Feng moments earlier had been overwhelmed before he could even understand the nature of his opponent's power. "Did you not ask me what price you would pay for attempting to kill me, Chu Feng? I shall answer you now." "The price shall be paid in blood," Chu Feng declared coldly. "Put." As soon as those words fell, the dark black gaseous flame swept upward like the tail of an enraged dragon. Nangong Huai was struck down by that terrible movement, and blood scattered through the air before falling like crimson rain. Wow! The surging dark black gaseous flames began transforming once again. They gathered into the shape of an enormous skeleton, which opened its gigantic mouth and unleashed an unbearably piercing roar. More importantly, the monstrous form now radiated terrifying killing intent. Aunt Lian and Nangong Rongsheng were both martial emperors who had lived for many years and witnessed countless sinister beings and evil phenomena. Yet neither of them had ever encountered an existence this frightening. Their cultivation and experience only made the danger clearer. Because they understood better than ordinary people how unnatural this power truly was. It seemed as though a savage beast that had slumbered for countless years had finally awakened. After such a long hibernation, its first instinct was to search for prey and destroy every living creature within its reach. This was no obedient weapon waiting for its master's command. It was a predator awakening with an appetite of its own. Rumble. Under the pressure of this power, dense black clouds covered the heavens, while violent lightning flashed and twisted among them. It appeared as though the end of the world had descended upon that region of space. Worse still, this apocalyptic phenomenon was rapidly spreading outward, swallowing an ever greater expanse of land. Damn it! Nangong Rongsheng immediately realized that the situation had gone beyond control. Knowing he could no longer spare any attention for Aunt Lian, he released the golden whip binding her, turned around, and fled. Oh! Yet after Nangong Rongsheng began escaping, the dark black gaseous flames suddenly transformed into a sharp blade and flew toward Aunt Lian instead. The uncontrolled power was actually attempting to kill her. Most terrifying of all, although Aunt Lian was a martial emperor and had already been released from her restraints, she still found herself unable to evade the approaching blade. That object hardly resembled an ordinary blade. It was more like the sickle of a deathly executioner. Once it selected someone as its target, that person seemed already condemned. The moment exposed the true danger behind Chu Feng's gamble. The enemy he had unleashed against the Nangong Imperial Clan did not distinguish friend from foe. Damn it! This fellow is actually resisting my control. Chu Feng frowned deeply upon witnessing this. He immediately poured every shred of his strength into reinforcing the spirit formations. Only through that desperate effort did he manage to restrain the sharp blade flying toward Aunt Lian and save her from death. "Aunt Lian, hurry and leave! I cannot control it," Chu Feng said with tremendous difficulty. Aunt Lian refused to flee. Instead, she asked anxiously, "Chu Feng, what has happened to you? What exactly is this thing?" "It is a world spirit, a martial emperor-level Asura world spirit. However, because I used a taboo formation technique, it is no longer a world spirit. It has become an evil spirit. I believed I would be capable of controlling it, but I still underestimated its power. Soon, I will no longer be able to restrain it. Hurry and leave." Chu Feng shouted hoarsely. Every word was true, and the price of his desperate gamble had now become frighteningly clear. Originally, after making all of his preparations, Chu Feng had believed there was a 70% chance that he would successfully control the evil spirit. Only now did he realize that his calculations had been wrong. The evil spirit was simply too powerful for him to control. At present, all Chu Feng could do was resist it with everything he possessed. Yet he understood that before long, the evil spirit would break free completely. Once that happened, Chu Feng himself was destined to die, because the creature would certainly not spare the person who had imprisoned and transformed it. The very trump card meant to save his life had become a threat even greater than the enemies surrounding him. At that critical moment, Eggy's voice rang out. "Chu Feng, abandon it. In this situation, our only choice is to escape." "Escape? How?" Chu Feng asked. "As another world spirit of the Asura spirit world, I possess a method that can prevent it from detecting your existence for a short time. I will use that method to conceal you now. Tell Aunt Lian to come over as well. Remain together, and I shall hide both of you at the same time," Eggy explained. Her solution relied not on defeating the evil spirit, but on exploiting her shared origin with it. Chu Feng dared not hesitate. He immediately called to Aunt Lian, "Aunt Lian, come here! Stand beside me!" Aunt Lian hesitated no longer. She immediately moved to Chu Feng's side. "Lend me your body," Eggy said again. Once Eggy spoke those words, Chu Feng surrendered control of his body. In a flash, Eggy took possession of Chu Feng's movements and began controlling him directly. "Go! Wreak havoc! Let the Nangong Imperial Clan witness the might of our Asura spirit world!" Eggy shouted loudly. Then she opened Chu Feng's tightly clasped palms. Her words carried both fierce pride and ruthless confidence. Since this calamity could no longer be chained, she would turn its fury toward the clan that had driven Chu Feng to such desperate measures. The moment Chu Feng's palms separated, the surging dark black world spirit power became even more violent. In the blink of an eye, it swallowed the entire heaven and earth. A dark black void spread above the horizon, and within it emerged a gigantic humanoid monster whose enormous figure stretched all the way to the highest clouds. "Ow!" A furious roar shook the world. When that roar sounded, the heavens seemed to collapse, and the earth seemed to cave inward. Even space itself began breaking apart, while the entire region was plunged into absolute darkness. Yet within that darkness, an enormous pair of crimson eyes shone like two blood-red suns. Those eyes contained limitless killing intent, as though the being behind them desired nothing less than the destruction of every living creature beneath the heavens. Anyone witnessing such eyes would understand that this was not merely overwhelming cultivation. It was killing intent given monstrous form. The Asura world spirit that had remained sealed within Chu Feng for so many years had finally been released. More precisely, it could no longer be called an Asura world spirit. Through the taboo formation technique and years of confinement, it had become an Asura evil spirit. As Asura was born into the world, who beneath the heavens could possibly stop it?